You are Locked On Hurricanes Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, my fellow Canes? Yeah, baby. 4-0. Canes. Canes, the big win over the Gators at Hard Rock tonight, and they did not make it easy on themselves in this one. Carson Beck really struggled in this game, but man, oh man, that Miami offensive line dominated up front with that workhorse backfield. Mark Fletcher Jr. and the emerging star Marty Brown had a huge game tonight for Miami. Up front, Miami really dominated Florida, especially on defense. In the first half, Florida did nothing, went nowhere. 32 yards of offense in the first half, had one big drive in the second half, 80 yards, and they scored a touchdown. Miami's offense was all over the place. At one point, 48 plays, 6 points, 165 yards, only 2 field goals out of it. Bunch of punts near midfield, really struggling offensively. Beck having a hard time throwing a wet football, but the running game never abandoned them, never deserted them, and they are a hard-nosed, tough football team that just moved to 4-0, 26-7. Not that tough of a win for Miami once they got out of their own way. I said 34-6. I'm getting close, but hey, Marty Brown had a touchdown run called back on that fourth down, and that would have sealed the deal in the third quarter, so that would have definitely changed things as well. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. This is your Hurricanes Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alex Donno is waiting to join, and we are ready to kick it into full speed right now. 26-7 Miami. Let's go, Canes fans. 4-0 bye week, then Florida State.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, what do you say we bring in the man right here? He is doing the network radio post game as well. We had to sweat a little bit tonight. Alex Donno, the fans love you here. Locked On Canes host. What a big week it's been. We're pretty good with our predictions, man, but I will tell you what, Carson Beck and a horrible call by the officials from the SEC, taking away a touchdown from Marty Brown, and then Carson Beck having his worst game by far as a Hurricane. Make us sweat a little bit, but the defense came up big when they had to, and then those last 2 touchdown drives to shoving that ball down their throat and closing the deal.
Yeah, I mean, first I'll start with the positive. Obviously, 26-7 win against Florida. I'm on top of the world right now, and it's Miami's physicality, Grease. I mean, you saw the way that they controlled the game on both lines of scrimmage, which they've done all season long. Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, huge. I loved Jacoby Thomas, Miami safety, had a huge game with a big sack on a blitz and a tackle for loss. Keontae Scott, the nickelback, had a really good game. This defense
What about
is
Lightfoot's
for real.
tackle on fourth down, Alex? Lightfoot, the tackle on fourth down, short of the sticks by a half a yard.
I mean, the defense was practically perfect. I mean, they gave up, one touchdown drive when the offense was sputtering, but the defense was almost perfect for Miami. And of course, offensively, you've got to love the Hurricanes being able to lean on that physicality. You mentioned Marty Brown had an awesome game. And yeah, listen, I know Miami ended up winning the game by a comfortable final score. Like, the game itself was not comfortable when you're up 13-7 and you throw an interception and you're up, 6 points in the fourth quarter. So the game wasn't comfortable. The finish was comfortable for Miami. Mark Fletcher has another fantastic game. Grease, Fletcher and Brown, the combo, have been awesome. Just a couple of hammers in that Miami backfield. And so it's just, it's a testament to the team that Mario Cristobal has built. And the fact that this team was able to get that win, despite the fact that the passing game was way off. And I'm sure you're going to be talking about this throughout the show.
Oh, yeah.
Carson Beck didn't have his fastball. I guess that, the Gators fans tell me he never plays well against Florida. He always beats Florida. He's 3-0 now against the Gators, but apparently he never plays well against Florida. Through 3 interceptions against them last year. But I'll take the win most importantly. So I think that's the big thing during this bye week. Of course, you want to rest all the bodies and get your players 100% healthy. Anybody who's nicked up and bruised and all that. Because Florida State looks like just an awesome team this year. That's who Miami's going to see after the bye. But also use this time to try and resharpen the passing game, because it had been working up to this point. Today it did not. But Grease, I'll tell you, it's good to know that this team is so stacked and so physical that even when one of the elements isn't working, they're able to compensate for that in so many other areas. And you mentioned the touchdown. We thought it was a touchdown that Marty Brown
Oh, man.
scored, breaking
That
out a
whistle was
50-yard
late.
run
He
on
was in the
4th and 1.
secondary, Alex, before the whistle blew. He
And,
was in the
and
secondary.
I probably watched the clip of that play, Grease, 100 timeline of the video of it, and Marty was still moving forward. Miami's O-line was still moving forward. A terrible whistle, and listen, if that touchdown
SEC
had been
guys.
allowed, the SEC crew, if they had allowed that touchdown, Miami would have probably blown the game open right then and
And
there.
Marty
We
Brown would have had a
to sweat
100-yard
it out.
game with 3 touchdowns on top of it. 100 yards and 3 touchdowns if he had that
Yeah.
run. As it was, he finished with 80 and 2,
Yeah.
but he had a bunch of yards through the air. And Fletcher, at the end, he went over 100 yards. But, Alex, before we go again, I just want to say one more time, 32 yards in the first half, 141 total. That one drive, they had 80 yards. You take that drive away, they're under 100 yards of offense, and it's not even close. So what they were able to do, Corey Heatherman on defense, what a huge upgrade this offseason. We talked about every defensive coach except Jason Taylor got fired. 7 DBs brought in. Obviously, it's working, man. And it all starts, like you said, with Bain and Messidor on those ends. They're almost unblockable, bro. They are almost unblockable.
Yeah, and the way that I look at it, when you have those defensive ends, you're going to be in every game, and it's going to be, obviously you're going to be talking Florida, but it's a different challenge against Florida State and Tommy Castellanos in a couple of weeks with his mobility. But in the meantime, let's enjoy this dub. Let's enjoy how stacked this team is, how physical this team is, and Grease, I can't thank you enough for the awesome work that you're doing on this postcast, keeping people engaged, keeping people excited. Thank you for the great work you do, my friend, and we'll talk next week.
All right, that's Alex Donno. Thank you so much, bro. Enjoy the radio show on QAM. Enjoy the week, and I will talk to you on Friday when we do our segment.
See you, man. Thank you.
All right, that's one and only Alex Donno right here, Locked On Canes, and this is the Canes Postcast. What a win for Miami. Look, it wasn't beautiful. Again, in the second half, it started with a real nice drive. They had some good drives in this game. In fact, for a while, they were driving the ball, and then a couple of drives, they sputtered and then got pushed back and ended up with field goals. And then it became punts near midfield. Then they're even punting inside the 5, and they couldn't get one down, and they give the Florida Gators the ball on the 20-yard line, and that ends up being their one touchdown drive. Now, let me just say this, 141 yards for Florida. You take away that 80, they'd have been at 60 yards of offense. Now, think about this. The Florida Gators have a streak, 465 games scoring at least a point in a game, right? That goes back to 1988. 465 games. If Miami could have gotten the shutout tonight, they would have snapped that streak. Miami's 10-0 at home since the start of last season. They've won 7 in a row against in-state opponents, but it doesn't matter unless they win 8 in 2 weeks at Florida State because they did their job, right? They beat Notre Dame. Then they win those first 3 games in that Florida stretch of 4, which was obviously Bethune-Cookman and then USF, now UF. 2 weeks from now, it's FSU. And, man, you hit that first spot, 4-0. You saw it right away. You had one game that you circled heading into the season, and that was those Fighting Irish. And we reduced them to, God only knows what they are. They lost 2 games already, but they bounced back big this weekend. And we need them to keep winning after this, just like UF and everybody else that we beat. USF, keep on winning after we beat you. But it was the running game tonight, shoving it down their throats. 160 yards passing only for Carson Beck. 17 out of 30, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and he was not good at all tonight. Brockermeyer, the center, had trouble snapping the ball. They had a bunch of penalties before the snap, 5 yards, false starts, things like that you could clean up and all those things. But in reality, when your team dominates, 184 yards rushing, 4 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns, should have been 4 on the ground, should have been a 200-yard rushing game with 100 yards each for Fletcher and more with Marty Brown, with Marty Brown scoring 3 touchdowns and Fletcher had 1 late. So the last 2 drives of the game, they scored touchdowns, and really what it came down to, and you'll hear it in the turning point in a little bit, but it was absolutely huge for the Miami Hurricanes when they were able to, in that fourth quarter, get that 1 stop. The Gators had just gone down and scored a touchdown, right? It's 13-7, and you're going, oh, my goodness, what in the world is going on here? They score to make it 13-7. Carson Beck throws an interception on the first play of the next drive, and then Florida goes 8 plays, 21 yards. The defense stiffened up, and they did not let them convert on 4th down. TJ Abrams with the pass from DJ Lagway, tackled by Lightfoot a half a yard short, maybe the play of the game right there for sure by Lightfoot, because that was, something where they were absolutely, they had all the momentum. Their defense was literally dominating our offense. But you know what? To our offense's credit, guys, and we got a lot to talk about here on the show. To our offense's credit, after the defense got that turnover on downs, and after that it was punt, downs again for Florida. But after the defense got that stop on downs, the offense, 3 plays, 1 yard, punt. They punted again, and so they called right back on the defense. After they got the huge 4th down stop, they're exhausted. The 80-yard drive on the drive before that, 11 plays, 80 yards, 6 minutes. Interception, 8 seconds on the first play from Beck. The defense goes back out there, 8 plays, 3 more minutes. So defense had been on the field for 10 minutes pretty much straight, right? And they come up with a huge 3-and-out. Florida did not go for it on 4th and 2, and they had been making 4th downs all night. The defense did it in that moment. And then after that, the offense finally got it together. 13 plays, 80 yards, the Marty Brown drive, touchdown. And then they get the turnover on downs, and they get the short field, 4 plays, 22 yards. Fletcher punches it in. But that drive, 13 plays, 80 yards, they finished that drive. They were doing it all night, but they finally finished it, and that was Marty Brown, hard-nosed football. The offensive line, just let's go manhandle these MFers right here at the line of scrimmage like they're trying to do to us. That was, oh, yeah, Mario Cristobal said, oh, yeah, Billy Napier, my old coaching buddy on, Billy Napier, let's go, baby. I got bigger dogs than you do, and they proved it tonight in that 4th quarter. What a job by the Miami Hurricanes to seal the deal and beat that Gator and send him back to Gainesville, limping with his tail between his legs. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. This is your Canes Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first watch or listen, myself and Alex. The Postcast in particular, I'm live after every game. Yeah, baby. Alex comes on as well. And then, of course, live on YouTube. You guys are having a blast in the chat room with the comments and the subs, the likes, hit the bell, all those things. We go live on YouTube, but right after the show ends, immediately after the game, we upload, you download Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast, and you download OPP. It's OTT. I'm 53. Over the top television, class of 96, by the way, at the U. But I'll tell you this, man, proud to be 4-0. Proud to be mauling dudes up front again. Mario Cristobal, this team is mirrored in his likeness. This team is nasty and tough and wants to kick your ass from whistle to whistle. And that's what Mario was as a player. The offensive line personifies the head coach. Beautiful win for the Miami Hurricanes. We are not done. We got a lot to do. Still to come, the turning point. Still to come, your stars of the game. And still to come, a look ahead 2 weeks away, Florida State. Oh, my God in heaven. That is going to be so sweet to go up there and whoop that butt just like we did Florida, just like we did USF, just like we did Notre Dame. What a start to the season. Those first 4 in the books, and you hit the bye week ready to go on the road for the first time and still not leave the state of Florida to play those Seminoles of Florida State. Okay, Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Got to take a quick break. I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you. But there's a lot of things that we still need to do on this show. Coming up on the other side of the break, going to tell you about a couple of great deals from incredible sponsors of ours. But on the other side of the break, I'm going to take a deeper look into that running game and the offensive line, and then the defense up front. The Miami Hurricanes up front. It starts with the U up front. Man, oh man, McAfee doing high dives at the pool. The campus spotlighted nationally on game day. And yeah, they didn't go to Hard Rock. They went to campus. Thank God we need an on-campus football stadium. Let's do it. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Canes Postcast, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, 26-7, 4-0. Let's go. And I get a chance to talk to you about one of the most reliable automobiles ever constructed and ever built on God's green earth. That's right. We are talking about Mazda. You know what it is. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it, like really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. On the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tonight's show is also brought to you by Oh, I love me some DoorDash. Don't get it twisted. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. And we know who delivered tonight. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Yeah, baby. The Canes clinging to the 13-7 lead. The defense gets the stop on fourth down with Lightfoot's tackle. The offense goes out. Yeah, turns it over, and then they go 3 and out right after that, right? So defense goes out, shuts them down again, and then what happens? It's the Marty Brown and Mark Fletcher show. Fletcher over 100 yards and a touchdown. Brown 80 yards rushing, 30 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. Should have been 3. Had a 50-yard touchdown run called back. Would have been over 100. They would have had over 200 yards of rushing. The offensive line, Fletcher, Brown, they are, who delivered, powered by DoorDash. For the Hurricanes, they did it today. They did it with no hesitation when the pressure was on. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Marty Brown, Mark Fletcher Jr., maybe the best running back tandem in the country. And if a player is on a multi-week tear, man, then you got to ride with them. And that's what Fletcher and Marty Brown have been for the Miami Hurricanes. So DoorDash with a tremendous job taking care of you with those incredible specials. The more you order, the more you save with DoorDash on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And one more for you, and that would be, you always ask me where my energy comes from. I'm like a 5-year-old running around here. Add a 3 on the end of that. No, not 8, but 53. You know what I'm saying? I'll take the 8, though. Caffeine just got a big flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packing the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. Oh, that energy stays smooth with that flow. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. Take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. You know, I'll tell you, they come in 17 bold flavors, and it's going to be fun trying all of them. I love how fast it kicks in, and it's sugar-free, so I don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. Let's make it bold. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorite you love, or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today for 5-hour energy on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team, yours, every day, Miami. Yeah, baby, the Canes go to 4-0 with a big win over the Florida Gators, 26-7 the final. Look at Marty Brown. Those Gators grasping at straws. They had no chance against our running game tonight. And in the fourth quarter, taking their lives from them, breath by breath, kind of like slowly pushing on their chest, but very slowly, cutting off that circulation, slowly but surely compressing those lungs until eventually they couldn't breathe and they just bled out in our hands. And that's what happened in the fourth quarter with that run game. That's what the run game was in the fourth quarter. Do not get it twisted. What Marty Brown did, what Mark Fletcher did, and what the guys up front did for the Miami Hurricanes. You know what I mean? They just absolutely came up huge when they needed to. The defense gets the stop on that fourth down. Lightfoot, the tackle on the slant, a half a yard short. That really got them going. The offense had really struggled. They had big drive after big drive. They kicked 2 field goals after the opening drive touchdown in the first quarter. 2 field goals after that when they had driven down the field, got pushed back, had to settle for field goals. Good job tonight by Davis again. But I'll say this, man. I will say this. Carson Beck's going to have to start playing a lot better. He had the 2 picks last week. I gave him grace, got hit on one of them. Freak athletic play by Tony to go up and tip a ball that wasn't for him on the other one. But there is no excuse. There is nothing possible that you can say for Carson Beck tonight. Don't give me the wet football stuff. You're in the South. You know, ish happens, man. And Carson will be the first guy to tell you he's got to step it up and be better if they're going to accomplish their goals this year. But the running game dominates. The defense was just fantastic tonight. Let me give you some of the numbers, and I'm going to go a little bit longer tonight because we went long with Alex Donno, obviously. And so Alex is a beautiful part of the show and the channel here on the network. But man, oh man, the Miami Hurricanes, Beck 17-30, 160, an interception. Fletcher 24 for 116 and a touchdown. Shamar, Marty Brown 16 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. Had a long, right around 50-yard touchdown run called back, and it was a terrible call. The whistles blew when he was in the secondary. His progress was never stopped. The line was still moving forward, and the SEC official said no, so it should have been 33-7. And I said the final score was going to be 34-6. Last week I was within a score too. You guys need to listen to me and start, hitting up FanDuel, because they're a proud partner of ours here as well. But man, oh man, Marty Brown led the team in receiving, 4 receptions, 53 yards. Lofton, 4 for 43, first game. He's really stepped up this season, getting healthier. Malachi Toney, 4 for 40. Daniels, 4 for 16. Had a big drop tonight, though, for Miami. Defensively, they were all over the field. It's hard to really pinpoint who did what. I mean, the tackles for loss all night long, right? It was Bain. It was Basaint. It was Mesidor. It was Lightfoot making big plays tonight. Zechariah Poyser, Keontae Scott coming up from the secondary to make play after play. Torrey was all over the field tonight. Jacoby Thomas played well on defense. Heatherman and Shannon Dawson got real conservative. I see a lot of you in the chat saying they got real conservative, and they had to tonight because Beck couldn't throw the damn ball. Beck was all over the place, man. He was way off. He was so inaccurate tonight. This is by far his worst performance as a Hurricane. What do you want him to do with a quarterback who can't even get it within 2 feet of the target all night long? So there you have it. All right, couple things to do. Short time to do them in. Gave you the numbers, but when you look at Florida's offense, and real quick, just want to tell you, Lagway, 12 of 23 for 61 yards. He only ran for -8. They sacked him a bunch of times. Baugh had 46 yards and Jackson had 39. And that is crazy considering how good those guys are. But that offensive line was supposed to be a big, big part of things for the Gators this year, and they just have not been getting the job done. But when you come to team stats here, and real quick, just want to hit these. Miami, 21 first downs, Florida 7. Third down, they were 8 for 16. Florida 0 for 13. Fourth down, 3 of 6. Florida 1 for 1. Miami 344 to 141 total yards. Miami 160 to 61 passing. And even though Beck had a terrible game, he was way better than Lagway. Rushing 184 to 80. And of those 80, about 70 of them were on one drive, and they scored in the third quarter. You give them credit, looked like they were going to get back in the game. One turnover for Miami, the Beck interception. They had the ball 36-30 to 23-30, about 13 more minutes of possession for the Hurricanes. All right, couple things to do, short time to do them in. We better get moving.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
That was supposed to go first, but it's okay. You get the point. These are the moments. Look at this moment. The Miami offense, a 13-play, 80-yard drive for 7:02 of the fourth quarter to go up 19-7. They missed the two-point conversion, but 19-7 with 4:08 left. They punctuated it with another defensive stop, and yeah, baby, right down a short field, and Fletcher punched it in. He had a 100-yard game. So what a night for the Miami running game. What a night for the Miami defense, which brings us to
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
we have some candidates. Obviously, we have some candidates tonight for player of the game, some really good ones, and I'm going to start with the defense. Bain, Mesidor up front, wreaking havoc all night long. The linebackers filling gaps. And, Florida had that one drive where they ran the ball down our throats, but then they adjusted. Heatherman started shooting those DBs through gaps on blitzes, even in the run game, and they started taking over the safeties, the corners, hard-hitting, tackling, flying all over the field tonight. At one point, Kirk Herbstreit was wondering if there were 14 guys on the field for the Miami defense. They were phenomenal. So got to give them huge props, but we have two stars of this game tonight. I think the second best player on the field for the Miami Hurricanes tonight was Mark Fletcher Jr. What a night for Mark Fletcher, and he's been great the last couple of games. Didn't do a ton against Notre Dame to start the season, was a little down about it, but big expectations coming in. Had a 38-yard touchdown run against USF last week, but Fletcher, 24 carries, 116 yards, 4.8 average, 1 touchdown, set the tone on the opening drive, ripping off big runs, and then Marty Brown took over that two-headed monster at tailback. And speaking of the two-headed monster at tailback, the best player on the field for the Miami Hurricanes tonight, you got it, Sharmar Marty Brown. Man, people didn't even know who he was, except for the diehards and the Alex Donno viewers coming into this season, and look at him now. He's getting paid. But no, seriously, look at, just an unbelievable performance by Marty Brown tonight, all right? He had 18 carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 4 catches for 53 yards, and that, obviously gives you 133 yards plus the 2 touchdowns. He should have had 3 touchdowns with well over 100 yards rushing and almost 200 yards of total offense, because he had a touchdown of about 50 yards taken away from him in the third quarter on a 4th down conversion. They blew the whistle after he picked up the first down. His progress was never stopped. He busted right out of there, and the whistles didn't even hit until he was free of the scrum and into the secondary. It was one of the worst BS calls I've ever seen. It was an SEC official. I could say his name. You know what? I probably should say his name. He was so bad. He deserves it. That's just such a horrible call. I'm going to say his name. Why not? I mean, they're out there getting paid like everybody else, and that's a grown-ass man. So where was it? Right here. Southeastern Conference referee David Smith. David Smith. Go get those special glasses. I don't know what you need, 3D glasses or any kind of glasses or whatever. But 344 to 141, the advantage in offense for Miami, and it was all the running game with Fletcher and Moore and Marty Brown, rather. I keep saying Moore. Fletcher and Marty Brown, the run game. And that was what it was tonight, dominating for Miami. It was Florida's lowest yardage since they had 119 against Bama on December 4th of 1999. Man, what a win. Florida State in a couple of weeks. Make sure you keep it here day in and day out with Alex Donno, getting you ready for that game. I'll be on this week and then next week as well. Get a nice little run going with the predictions lately, but 4-0 for Miami. Toughest test tonight by far, although Notre Dame made it close. And Miami has a little bit of a trend going early this season where they get those big, long drives throughout the middle of a game, and then they don't score on them, or they punt, or they get a field goal, and then the offense sputters completely, and then they rebound late to put the game away. They did it against Notre Dame. They did it against Florida. But, hey, a win is a win is a win, and look at Marty Brown still up there. And, yeah, you're 4-0, and just a tremendous job by the Miami Hurricanes to get it done again tonight and absolutely maul the Florida Gators right on out of Miami. Don't forget about Locked On Canes with Alex Donno, day in and day out, the best in the business. The Postcast in 2 weeks. I come back after every game live on YouTube. After that show, upload, you download Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast, and Roku over the top television. Miami's offensive line and running game and defense was over the top tonight. 26-7. They maul the Florida Gators, made it a little too close for comfort there in the third and into the fourth quarters. Probably should have been like a 40-0 game, but hey, they win 26-7, and it's good to have Carson Beck get a game like this out of the way. He's never really played well against Florida, but he's 3-0 against them, Gator fans. He is 3-0, as Alex Donno told us. One more time for your mind, there's the final score graphic. Look at Marty Brown just digging through that Florida defense, and then it was a hard-hitting physical game. Miami bringing the heat. Of course, the recruits were all over the place tonight, and a great, great time to win that game. All right, before we let you go, Locked On, man, oh man, what a great partnership with Fire TV. It's college football kickoff. It's hosted by Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12. 2-time Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson is there, as well as Jesse Holley, former college football star, other Locked On experts. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. It's great to be a Miami Hurricane. Oh, Canes, Canes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 4-0, baby. Hey, we're going to get on out of here now. We had a little bit longer show because we were joined by Alex. Did a little bit of a combo episode of Locked On Canes and the Postcast, but Miami dominates Florida 26-7. The running game, the defense, just a great job reflecting the personality of their head coach and mauling that Florida Gator, something we really love seeing, and we haven't seen a University of Miami team this good up front, this aggressive, this physical, this strong in a long time. And I, for one, am loving every second of it. We're back in 2 weeks on the 4th when we go to Tally to face those Seminoles. And man, is it going to be amazing. The whole season in many ways riding on that game. And then you got a long stretch after that, but get through that one 5-0 and you are on your way. Playoffs, chip, all those things firmly in squarely in your sights. Thank you so much for watching, listening to your Canes Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. Thank you for being here. As always, want to remind you to keep your game tight and your mind right, Canes fan. We are